Bonjour, je m'appelle Monica. Je suis désolée, je ne comprends pas, je suis américain. Have you ever wondered why French sounds so undeniably romantic? Even if you don't speak a word, hearing French can feel like music, soft, flowing, and melodic. But this isn't just in your imagination. The sound of French has deep historical roots, shaped over thousands of years by conquest, culture, and clever phonetic shifts. Welcome to the Airlearn Language Show, where we unpack strange origins, lost meanings, and how language keeps evolving. Today, we're diving into why French has its signature sound and what makes it different from other Romance languages. French began to develop roughly 2,000 years ago in Gaul, the region we now know as modern France. But it wasn't born from pure Latin. Instead, it emerged from Vulgar Latin, the everyday speech of soldiers, traders, and settlers, which mixed with Gaulish, the Celtic language native to the region. This blending left marks on vocabulary, pronunciation, and even rhythm. For example, some consonant softening and vowel shifts, hallmarks of French, can be traced back to Gaulish influences. When the Germanic Franks settled in Gaul after the fall of the Roman Empire, they also contributed sounds and words, even reintroducing the H into certain French words. Over centuries, French absorbed Latin roots, Celtic nuances, and Germanic influence, creating a unique sound profile, unlike Italian, Spanish, or Portuguese. Just like French evolved naturally from exposure to multiple influences, learning a language works best when you experience it in context. Airlearn helps you do exactly that. It immerses you in listening, speaking, and real-world usage, mimicking the way humans naturally absorb language. You don't just memorize words. You absorb the music of the language, just like generations of French speakers did. One of the earliest pieces of evidence of Old French comes from the Oaths of Strasbourg in 1842 CE. These texts, distinct from Latin, reveal not only the early form of French, but also the presence of Germanic influence in the region. By studying them, linguists can trace how sounds, words, and sentence structures began to diverge from Latin, laying the foundation for the French we know today. French pronunciation evolved over several stages. Old French, diphthongs, softened consonants, and rhythmic stress patterns. Middle French, more vowel changes, nasalization, and loss of certain consonants. Renaissance French, standardized spelling reforms, further phonetic shifts, and refinement of rhythm. Vowels were softened, consonants often dropped at the end of words, and nasal vowels emerged, a sound almost unique to French among Romance languages. For example, Latin aqua evolved into French e, and Spanish cambiar became French changer, showing dramatic phonetical changes that contribute to its fluid, romantic sound. Not all French sounded the same. Northern France spoke langue d'oil dialects, which became modern French, while the South used langue d'oc dialects. These regional differences affected pronunciation, vocabulary, and rhythm. Northern dialects favored softer consonants and nasals, while Southern varieties retained harsher endings. Even today, regional accents like Parisian French versus Quebec French reflect historical evolution. Quebec retains older pronunciations lost in France, showing that French continues to evolve in response to social and geographic factors. So, why does French sound romantic? Several phonetic features create that effect. Softened consonants. Many consonants at word endings disappeared or softened, giving French a flowing, almost melodic quality. Nasal vowels. Vowels before N or M were nasalized, creating unique resonance. Rhythmic patterns. French stresses symbols differently than Italian or Spanish, producing a smooth musical cadence. Vowel-rich words. Vowels dominate over consonants in common words, enhancing fluidity. Combine these factors with centuries of cultural emphasis on poetry, literature, and performance, and you get the signature romantic sound everyone associates with French. French literature, from troubadour poetry to Renaissance plays, reinforced these sounds. Spoken French in courts and urban centers emphasized elegance, soft consonants, and melodic intonation. This attention to sound influenced standardization and pronunciation rules, which survived through printing, schooling, and diplomatic use. The French R is guttural, a featured influence by Germanic Franks. Silent letters often reflect historical pronunciation, hôtel, ton, and fond. Certain words underwent extreme phonological shifts. Latin focus became French feu, fire, and Latin pluvia became pleu, rain. These features make French distinct amongst Romance languages, giving it a sound that's softer, rounder, and more fluid than Spanish, Italian, or Portuguese. French teaches us that pronunciation, rhythm, and exposure matter more than just memorizing rules. Just like French evolved through centuries of interaction, learning a language today works best with immersion, repetition, and listening to natural speech. Airlearn provides all of this, helping you internalize pronunciation patterns and flow so your speaking feels natural and effortless. Next time you hear French on a movie, in a song, or from a friend, listen closely. Can you pick out the soft in consonants, nasal vowels, and flowing rhythm? Try repeating a few lines aloud and notice how it rolls off the tongue. French didn't become romantic overnight. Its sound is a product of centuries of history, cultural influence, and evolution. By understanding this, we appreciate not just the language, but the story it carries. Hit like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time with another story on the Airlearn Language Show.